Hello everybody and welcome to Hashtags All About AYI Cancer. I'm Steve.
And I'm Lauren, sitting in for Sabrina.
In the first two parts of this series on family planning challenges for AYA survivors, Paige has already shared so much.
She sure has, Steve. And shortly we'll learn more about the specific adoption process that she and Will chose to follow. You agreed, you and Will, that you were then going to pursue adoption.
Yes.
You found an agency, like you said, that you felt comfortable working with. Can you give us just the broad brush about all of the steps involved? Because I know I had no idea what was involved, and I bet most people don't. Just give us the overview of all the different steps in the adoption process.
Right. And, it might vary slightly from agency to agency, so this has kind of just been in our own experience. So first, we went to some meetings with different agencies to really understand what their agency focused on, what they were about, requirements that they had for us, as well as costs and, statistics as far as how many children they place each year and the average waiting time, which really varies family to family. So we went to an informational session with the agency that we're currently using. And then it took about 2 months after that until we were accepted into one of their programs. So that was our first big step. And after that, the ball starts to get rolling with a home study. And most people think of a home study and they think it's just when a social worker or some kind of advocate comes to your house and checks out your home. But what they don't realize is that there's like 1 million pages of paperwork that comes before that. And it's asking everything from, where you grew up and what house and the street address down to who was your best friend in first grade. It's very detailed. It's very specific. And it takes a long time to complete. It's pretty lengthy and it's in depth, like I said. So after completing that, we needed to attend pre-adoption classes. So you have to be able to get on a certain schedule, and they only offer them at limited times, so that was a challenge. I'll still remember we got a phone call like the day before, after I was working 5 nights in a row, that someone had canceled, and we got into a class, and we'd finished all of our paperwork, so we were really excited because we didn't want to have to wait longer. So we went to the class, and they teach you all kinds of things. They talk to you about parenting, and they bring in other adoptive families or children who have been adopted to share their stories. And then after that, we needed to make what they call a profile book. The profile book is pretty much all about us. It's a chance for us to highlight areas of our lives we'd want a birth mom to see, and just things that we think our child might love growing up with. So that is kind of whatever we want to include, which is nice because the home study is all the things they require, and this is what we wanted to include. So we finished that. And shortly thereafter, we were officially waiting, and that was November of last year.
And you're still waiting?
Yes. We've received phone calls here and there. So what they do is they have a family advocate that is assigned to your family call you with details about a birth mom and your potential future child, and they give you all of the information, and you get to hang up the phone and talk with your spouse or whoever else and talk about if you want that birth mom to view the book that you made. And from there, you could say yes or no, and then it's in the birth mom's court to also say yes or no.
And domestic versus international adoption, how does that work?
We went for domestic because it's here, it's in the United States. If there was traveling involved, it would most likely be more cost effective and closer, because our agency works with states that are closer to New York State with the exception of Florida. Also, domestic is significantly cheaper than international, so that was another decision that helped.
So I know the financial costs are staggering. And I think couples that are starting down this path maybe don't know. So 2 questions. One, did you know the costs of both IVF and adoption before you headed down each of those paths? And question 2, can you just give us like the ballpark range of each option?
So before we explored each separate option, we did learn about the financial costs. We went for like initial visits when we were doing IVF, and there they give you a breakdown of what the costs are. IVF is about, using donor eggs, it was about $20,000. That doesn't include, other testing and doing a second transfer, which we had the ability to do. In adoption, the same thing. They're very upfront when you go for your initial visits to let you know, like, this is what the general cost is. So for us, like, ending fees wise, it could range, from what we've heard from various phone calls, it could range anywhere from $28,000 to about $42,000. So it's a wide range, but still all high. After 25, it all seems to blend together.
And I know that you and Will are both very proud people, so you had a very unique way to try to fund your efforts. Tell us about what you did and why.
So we are just over year 2 of doing our own bottle and can fundraiser drive. And when we initially kind of put it out there, we used social media and just told people that if they were going to throw their cans out anyway, or if they're people like when I was a kid, my dad hated taking cans and bottles back, so he would just pay us kids to do it. So if you're just somebody who hated taking them back, then we were more than willing to take them off people's hands, and we would even pick them up. We set up an account at a local redemption center, and they actually give us 6 cents for every bottle and can we bring in. And they always ask us how the family building is going, and I just know that someday we're going to be able to bring in a picture of our little one and just thank them for all that they've done for us. So it's been quite a journey. It's been smelly at times when you have bottles in your car, and it's been a little unsafe at times when you're driving around and you can't really see much out the back window because it's so full. So yes, it's been quite a journey.
Lauren, I'll bet most people don't realize how many heartbreaks and decisions that couples have to endure during this process.
It must be so hard to stay hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an optimistic person, and I feel I would be hopeful, but I'm not in their shoes.
Nor have I ever been. But for many survivors like Paige, her insights will hopefully be very helpful.
Yeah. Stay tuned for part 4. We're going to have Paige in studio with us.